That's cute.
Yeah.
So you started date. I mean, so he called you, and was it like just off to the races?
Oh, no, he didn't call me.
Oh,
No, he didn't call me. I called his roommate and went, why hasn't he called me?
Oh my God, I love it.
And the roommate goes, ask him yourself, and just handed him the phone. And I went, dude, why didn't you call me? And he just stammered and stammered and stammered. And I was like, let me make this. I thought he was scared of me. I was like, I think he's scared of me. I think because I can be a bit much, right? So I'm very direct. I just don't.
Yeah.
I'm just very direct.
Same.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So I don't need to be like, hee, ooh. I'm just like, why didn't you call me? I'm going to make it easy for you. How about you ask me out? And he goes, okay, you want to go on a date? I was like, yes, I do. So he hangs the phone up and he goes to his roommate, she just wants me for my body. No, that was not it. It was his brain.
Made a decision. I'll face the sunny side head on. I had a vision of what it might be like.
So good to see you.
I actually missed you. And I don't know you very well, but I'd see our clips and I go, I miss her. I'd like to see you again.
I know.
To go to lunch or something.
As soon as I know, let's do that. As soon as I finished your podcast, I was like, no, I feel like we're friends. Like now I have to have her on my podcast, and like we have to, because we shared so much. It was like our podcast was like 2 hours long, Lynette.
Yeah, that's what you were telling me.
Yeah.
I can't believe it.
I was saying so much stuff that I wouldn't really talk about outside of therapy. Like I was just like,
Really?
yeah, we were talking about our relationships with our mom. I mean, it was stuff that's not in the book, you know. I was just went totally off. We went off-roading.
Well, you know, the thing about when you find someone who has a similar life experience, especially when it's as specific as that, it's kind of, this sounds weird, but it's kind of delicious. Right? Where you're like, oh, give me what you got, because I got. Yeah, and we got the same, you know? It's like someone who grew up in a boysenberry patch. Who did that? But some people did. And then you go, oh, you had boysenberries too?
Hold on. This is good stuff. Let's.
You know?
We're going? Oh, we're rolling.
There we go. Our special guest episode today with our special guest in studio is LeeAnn Kreischer, wife of the party.
That's
your podcast. Sorry. Excuse me. Welcome. Thank you so much for coming in. But I have a question. You have 2 kids, right?
Yes.
How old are they?
19 and 17.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I have 17-year-old twins.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. So they're around the same age.
Senior in high school?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh, same.
Yes.
How's that going for you?
You know.
Are they girls, boys, both?
Boy, girl. Yeah.
Gotcha. How's that going?
It's, you know, I'm trying to spend as much time. Sorry. God.
Hate it when that
Sorry,
happens.
Kayla. Okay. I'm trying to spend as much time with them as I can, you know, because they're going to be, God willing, they're going to be off and doing their thing soon. And their time is ticking. So, and they're, applying to colleges and all that. But so, where do you guys live? Are you like in, not specifically, but like
What's your address?
We live in Los Angeles.
Yes, in LA.
Same as you.
Not the Valley. Yeah.
I'm not going to say. Let's just say people have been showing up at my house. So I'm going to say super non-specific. We live in Los Angeles.
Okay.
I can tell you later.
Yeah, that's fine. But so your kids are they applying to schools, or are they?
Yes. Yes. Our 17-year-old is going away in the fall.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait. Oh,
for
so
college.
Your 17-year-old is a senior.
She's a senior, yes.
Oh, okay.
She's July birthday.
Oh, okay.
So she'll be
Me
18
too.
in July. I'm August. So,
okay.
same. So she's a young senior.
I'm August too. What's your birthday?
20th.
26.
Nice. Virgo.
Oh, what's your daughter's birthday? July what?
July 18th.
Oh, okay. Mine's July 5th.
Oh. Well, Independence Day almost.
Mm-hmm. Almost. Yeah. So she already got her, except she's planning it. She's going.
Yes.
Is she happy about where she got in?
Yes. Let me tell you something about our household. We are not academics.
Exactly.
Ain't
I
nothing
didn't go to
academic.
college at all.
Oh, honey, I dropped out. I got no degree. And Bert took 7 years to get undergrad. So,
oh my God, you're in the good company. Lynette did not go to college either, and Kaylin didn't either. Well, he went to community college.
I went to community college for a couple
I
years.
went to community college. That's about it.
yeah.
I dropped out of community college.
Yeah, me
Nice.
too.
I'm a community college dropout.
I dropped out in my 4th year. So how smart is that? I was like, I got one more year. I'm out, man. I don't even know if I want to do what I'm studying. I don't even know who I am. I'm leaving.
What were you studying?
I started out as a psychology major.
Okay.
And then I transferred schools and I didn't like their psych department. So I pivoted to finance because they're pretty similar.
Yeah, the same. Yeah, exactly.
So, and I got 2 years into finance and went, I don't want to do this either. I'm moving to New York. So that's what I did.
Where's your accent from?
Georgia.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
I grew up in a really small town in Georgia, like 1,600 people.
Wow.
Really small town.
Hey, yeah, I love the accent.
Thank you. I don't hear it anymore because, it's probably bad because I was talking to my dad on the way over here. And my dad is like, I ain't got no fish today. I've been fishing all damn day, ain't got no fish. He talks like that, actually. I don't anymore, but definitely when I talk to him, it comes back out.
It's funny because I was just doing a Southern accent when I had my dog. So I live part-time at a condo. Adam and I are doing this nesting thing. So a couple days a week he's at the house with the kids. But this weekend we had to ship the dog out because we did a showing. We're selling the house. So I had the dog at the house yesterday. And I'm talking to him in a Southern accent all day. And I'm like, where did I get the Southern accent from? It's so, especially when you're talking like sweet. Like, I love you so much.
It's contagious. It's catching, as we say.
We're all going to have
catchy.
it by the time we're done today.
I know, right?
So, okay, so did your 17-year-old apply to a lot of schools? You were saying that you're not academic.
We did this with
Is
both.
she academic?
No, we did
okay.
that with both our kids. Our kids are, our oldest daughter, Georgia, is an average learner, average academic, ABs with very little effort.
Yeah.
No interest in AP, anything. No, and we aren't either. So when it came time for college, I didn't want her in that kind of rat race. So we hired a private counselor and just went like this. Hey, we don't really care where she goes or what she studies or if she goes at all. So will you just find out what she wants? Because she's going to tell us what we want to hear, and we're not really interested in that. We want to know actually what she wants, and then we'll execute on that. And this counselor did that. She found out what Georgia wanted to study and learn and who she was and how she wanted like her life to look in college, and then applied to schools relative to that, and she got in everywhere she applied to.
Oh, good.
And then we had the same, so I was like, that worked. So with my massively dyslexic, sensory processing disorder, emo kid, can we just do the same
one of those
thing?
too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
My 16-year-old, girl.
Yeah. 17-year-old girl. Same. So we did the same thing for her, and we were like, don't need her to go to college. But if she wants to go to college, I need her to go somewhere she's going to succeed and, or at least give her the best shot of it. And we went to see this one school, and Isla was like, that's it. I don't want to apply anywhere else. And I made her apply to 4 other schools, but she got into the one she wanted. So she's like done. We got both girls luckily got accepted to their number 1 schools in October. So this whole intense whatever didn't happen for our family. Thank God. Because Bert and I don't really care. I mean, it sounds really kind of careless.
Yeah.
But we don't really care. We really don't. And it's odd to be that parent in this world today.
Yes. Absolutely.
Where everything's about how many did you apply to? Like one of our closest friends, family friends, daughter applied to 23 schools. And I was like, why?
Insane.
That's crazy.
The stress of having to make a choice, if you go A or B, you're like, oh, A. But if you go A, B, C, D, E, F, or G, you're like, I'm lost. I don't, how do you even make that choice?
Yeah.
Well, we needed your counselor because my kids, we had a counselor that wasn't great, like steered my son in the wrong direction. her daughter's counselor, kind of the same.
Really?
My daughter's counselor told her that she should apply for psychology because she was interested in psychology, and that was totally fine, and there's no issue with that. and she got rejected from every school that she applied to pretty much, because we found out later that psychology is a very impacted major, right, for kids now. It's one of the hardest majors to get into. Besides, there's a few that are impacted. And she would have gotten into better schools had she applied to a more niche major, but she didn't know. And you don't know until it's way too late. Yeah. And you pay all this money for this private counselor, and the one piece of advice that you could have really used, is not there. So she ended up at community college this year, and then reapplied 1 year of community college and reapplied. And now we're finding out like results now. But yeah, it's such a stressful period. And my husband went to Syracuse, but his dad went to Princeton, and there were all these expectations. It was a very East Coast WASPy college. I remember, like I said, I didn't go at all. I took 2 classes at community college and dropped out. And I remember the first time I met my husband's parents, and they were very like, his dad said things about girls. Like, it was like Christmas time, and he was like, "Oh, that's Wendy. She went to a fantastic school." And I was like, "Oh, Jesus, this is what I'm up against."
Right.
So he didn't go to Princeton because he didn't have the grades to get in, but it was always like a disappointment to his dad. So I believe there's a little carryover in John's mind, even though he doesn't mean to. He can't help have a little bit of like status school. And it just makes it's hard because I don't want that to, I'm like you, I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm always like, well, I didn't go to school and I figured out my way in life. So I think what it takes is resiliency and hustle. And like those things are more important than, I think, a college degree.
Totally. Curiosity.
That's why,
curiosity.
LeeAnn, it's refreshing to hear from you. Like, because at least the kids that my kids are growing up with, I mean, all their parents went to college, both parents, gone to these universities. There's a lot of prestigious universities. And it's like, my poor kids are like my son was saying, he was frustrated because he got steered in the wrong direction from our college counselor. And he was telling his friends, he was telling me what he was telling his friends. It was like, well, my friends, they all have these older siblings that are already done it. They're already at schools, all these other colleges. And then, their parents went to college. He's like, my parents didn't go to college. In fact, their dad tells them, you don't need college, find out what you like to do, go to work, go to a trade school, whatever, but both of my kids want to go. So got them the college counselor. But it's like, it's nice to meet people that are like, we didn't go to college.
No,
both
didn't
of
go
us,
to college. Well, Bert did 7 years, and I did,
7 years.
but dropped out.
Right.
But yeah, I think it's interesting this city is a weird place to raise kids, right?
Yeah.
Because it's such a mix of socioeconomic, of creativity, levels, I guess, different levels of creativity in your schools. And I know we sent our kids to public school through 8th grade, partly because we couldn't really afford private, and partly I think I would have chosen that anyway because I was a public school kid and Bert was a private school kid. And the value system that happens in white-collar families is awesome, but very different than the value system that happens in blue-collar families, right? They're very different currency. So like what you're talking about with the Princeton, that's a currency of a white-collar family.
Right.
But there's stuff that is from my blue-collar background that I'd prefer. And then there's stuff from the white-collar that I'd prefer. And then you get to kind of pick and choose, okay, our family culture is this part blue collar, this part white collar, and how do we sometimes it gets confusing in that once we shifted our girls to private school and high school, they were surrounded by white collar values.
Right.
And coming from a blue collar value elementary and middle school where we went to, their middle school had 1,800 students in it. It was public school. It was 57% Latino. It was a very socioeconomically diverse group. There were a lot of wealthy kids who their parents sent their kids to that school for the music program, for the art program, for the show choir program. And then there were kids that just lived in the neighborhood also. So it was just kind of like going to the DMV. You know, we all go to the DMV.
Yeah.
Right.
Somehow The Rock gets a driver's license. I don't know how, but you know, he goes to the DMV too in some capacity. And so Bert and I both really liked that kind of leveler, you know, to go, hey, you put your pants on just like the plumber's kid, just like Christopher Nolan's kid. You know, you all put your pants on the same. Yep. But what we noticed about kids who grew up once we're in this private school sect, that the private school kids have such a different point of view about college and stuff than ours. And I feel like when we go back to our public school friends, everybody's more like we are. They're like, who cares? They'll figure it out. Who cares? They go to community college or trade school or take a gap year or work for a year and then figure it out. It's just such a different, it's so interesting to look at. And like, I'm so curious about it, to look at it and see, you know, what matters to me, what matters in our house versus what seems to matter in our community versus what seems to matter in the United States, right? Because I go back home and they are still very much like, hey, trade school's awesome. Right. Two-year degree in agriculture? Yeah. Now you're college educated. A 2-year degree in agriculture is a step up for a lot of people in my community. It's something that wasn't available.
Right.
To just have that perspective when you're sitting with, you know, I'm so disappointed you didn't go to Princeton. You go, well, that's such a niche, small lane of this world.
I also think that, and I can speak for all three of us because I know you a little bit, but our kids have so much more security and like they're having a different upbringing experience. And I know that for me, I couldn't even really see myself at college because my home life was so dysfunctional and the way I felt inside was just so different. And like I felt, you know, I had to be scrappy and I had to figure a lot of stuff out for myself and I had to kind of parent myself and I just couldn't imagine being at college with people telling me what to do and like living by other people. You know what I mean? At a certain point, I was angry. I felt sad. I was crying. And I was just like, I need to just go to LA and like do my own thing. Right. Well, my kids are having a very different experience. They have parents who love them and they feel like, I think it's just more comfortable for them to see themselves, see their future and not be worried about like, what am I going to do next week?
Well, there's probably a little less imposter syndrome for our kids.
Yes.
I was all like, they're going to figure this out.
Right.
All through college. They're going to figure out I'm really dumb. The jig is up that I am like from like hillbilly country. Like cat's coming out of the bag at some point. I better get out of here before I'm discovered. I definitely had that piece. I don't think my kids have that piece.
Yeah.
I don't think
so when did you come out to LA or what brought you out to LA?
I moved to New York first. I was there for 4 years. I was so lost. I studied acting for a while. And while I was studying acting, I figured out I really liked to write. So I moved out here intending to act still, and then very shortly realized acting was not for me. I am not the person that's like, I'm not a pick me girl.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, no, pick her. She'd be way better. Yeah, and then I go, well, that's not going to work. Like I'm never going to work. So I just dove into writing. So I just became a writer. Up until I met Bert and had kids, I was writing all day. I wrote like 6 days a week. I wrote 8 screenplays in about 2 years.
Wow, that's amazing.
It was awesome. I have 4 got optioned, 1 got made. And right before I got pregnant with Georgia, like studios were asking me to like, hey, read a book and see if you would adapt this into a screenplay. Those Southern books, so no big stretch there. But so I was getting opportunities coming my way. I was really starting to roll. And then got pregnant on the pill while I was dating Bert. So
wow.
The good Lord went pivot because I was like, well, I'm not going to not do that. Like if that's how this is supposed to, then this is supposed to be my path. Mm-hmm. And I got super morning sick for like 6 months and I could only like work my day job and sleep. And then by the time
was your relationship fairly new?
About a year and change. But we were, we'd been to the rodeo. We kind of knew we were headed in that direction. It just happened a little faster than we probably would have. And to be honest with you, the way my childhood and my background with 7 divorces between my 2 parents and
really?
Yeah, 7 going for 8. No, 7 doors. So I really think that it happened the way it was supposed to because I'd never doubted it. I have such a faith in the universe and the way things are supposed to happen the way they're supposed to happen, that getting pregnant on the pill made me never doubt that I was supposed to be with Bert and that we were supposed to have kids together. So if I had chosen to get married, I think that imposter syndrome would have gotten me. If I had chosen to have kids, I definitely would have been like, you definitely don't know what you're doing here and you should not be here. For sure. So I think the universe just went, for you, honey, it's going to have to work like this.
Yeah.
So it was a blessing, really. And I just, once my kids were up a little bit, I was like, oh, perfect. I'm going to get Eileen kindergarten and I'll go back to writing. It just doesn't work like that for me. I can't sit down, or I have not been able to sit down and write for like 45 minutes, and then my brain just makes me really frustrated. So I was like, well, I can be frustrated at my kids all day, or I can just pause that and find another creative outlet until they're really launched, and I can really, really do that. So that's kind of what I did. I've started writing a little bit here and there, and I've started prepping to write a book, so that once Isla's in college and I'm an empty nester, I can kind of really focus. But, I mean, I have like 2 proms and, graduation. It's just constantly with kids that the fits and starts of it makes me insane. So I just don't do it.
Right. Yeah.
Let's take a quick break and come right back. Okay. We're back. So when you said you had to pivot like something else creative, do you mean your podcast? Like, and then you started
my podcast didn't come till about 6 years ago, and my kid's like 17. So I kind of pivoted into a couple areas. At the time, stand-ups and comedians weren't selling merchandise. So I said to Bert, I don't know why you don't sell a T-shirt. It's like being a rock star. Why don't you just start selling T-shirts? So I started developing his line of merch. That was kind of my little, side hustle of art, because it is graphic design. I'm not designing it, but I was the person that was like, how about his face in profile with this here and that there? You make it. Tell me, I'll pick the shirts. And I did all of that. And then it kind of grew into, Bert got the opportunity to shoot his first special. And from the very beginning, I would go watch him obviously do stand up, and I am very opinionated. So he would be like, what'd you think about that? And I'd go, you're so much smarter than that. I don't understand why you say that. Why can't you elevate the way you're thinking about that concept? Because I was a writer.
Yeah.
And so I never wrote anything for him, but I would always kind of push his boundary and question his laziness, right? I'd be like, that's lazy. You're way smarter than that. You said the F word 4 times in one joke. Say it once and replace the other 3 with a word. And, come on. And so,
Lynette, can you imagine how that would have gone if you said that to Adam?
Yeah, giving notes to Adam. No, not so.
That wouldn't work.
No. He would have liked the merchandise part, though. That
right?
Yeah. And he would want me to sew the shirts together.
To knit the beanies yourself.
Yes, right. Like that. That's the kind of stuff he would.
Yeah, he would have been like, "Why are we ordering them? Why are we paying money to somebody to make T-shirts?
Yeah, go to Joann's Fabric,
right?
I got you a sewing machine. Go dust that thing off.
Right.
That's yeah. But yeah, like I'll stick to the jokes. You do the sewing.
Right.
And that's what he would have done. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So I
so
like
funny.
that. So hats off to Bert.
Hats off to Bert.
Notes. Would he get defensive at first, or was he always like, "Oh, thank you for sharing your opinion"?
He was neither.
Oh, okay.
He was a little like. The thing about Bert is, I think one of our values that are the same is funny, period. So if you're getting a note from your mailman that makes the joke more funny, who cares? That's how he thinks about it. And that's how I think about it too. I don't care who tells me. If the idea is a good idea, then isn't that what you're looking for as an artist? There should be no ego. Because it's all ego. Well, who needs that? You just need it to be the best, whatever you're doing, your dishes, your dinner, whatever it is, to be the best you can be. So why wouldn't you take input? You don't have to apply it. You can just consider it and go, I don't agree. And then I go, no problem. But I can't not say something I see. So as long as we can do that, and we've always been able to do that, I'll give him tons of notes he doesn't take. And I'm like, okay, it's your art. It's not mine.
Was he doing stand-up when you met him? How did you guys meet?
He was doing stand-up. I met him bowling. Like a bunch of friends, just got a bunch of friends together, and we were on the singles team against the couples team. And at the end of it, I was like, he's pretty funny, but I'm never going to stick with a comedian. Like, there's no way I'm marrying a comedian. No way. But I knew his roommate, and I was like, give him my number. We'll have a couple dates, and then we'll be friends for life. He and I will be friends forever. And clearly, that went a different direction. But yeah, we just met bowling. Actually, we had met 2 times before that, but I have no memory of it. He, I guess, saw me and was like, who is that? And I don't remember meeting him. He interrupted a writing session, and I got really mad at him. And apparently I was really bitchy. And was like, I'm in the middle of something. Could you get out? You know, because kind of abrupt. And he was like, I love her. I love her. I think she could take me in hand. So...
That's cute.
Yeah.
So you started date. I mean, so he called you, and was it like just off to the races?
Oh, no, he didn't call me. No, he didn't call me. I called his roommate and went, why hasn't he called me?
Oh, my God, I love it.
And the roommate goes, ask him yourself, and just handed him the phone. And I went, dude, why didn't you call me? And he just stammered and stammered and stammered. And I was like, let me make this. I thought he was scared of me. I was like, I think he's scared of me. I think because I can be a bit much, right? So I'm very direct. I just don't.
Yeah.
I'm just very direct.
Same.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
So I don't need to be like, hee, ooh. I'm just like, why didn't you call me? I'm going to make it easy for you. How about you ask me out? And he goes, okay, you want to go on a date? I was like, yes, I do. So he hangs the phone up and he goes to his roommate, she just wants me for my body. No, that was not it. It was his brain. So he shows up to the date, like pulls up in front of my apartment and honks the horn because he thinks I'm a booty call, right?
Oh, my God, he honks the horn.
I am like from this part of the country where I'm like, okay, well, if that's how we're going to do it, all right. You know, dudes don't always know how to.
Right.
So I'm dressed up in like a dress and heels. And as soon as I hit the sidewalk, he's like, oh my God, this is a date. This is like a real date. He has a full-blown panic attack. He can't eat dinner. He can't tolerate his shoes. He has to take his shoes off.
Why?
Because he's panicking because this is actually a date and he really likes me. And he there was no part of his world that thought that this was real. He thought it was just couldn't possibly be real. So we go to dinner. He doesn't eat dinner. And then he goes, let's go somewhere else for dessert. He doesn't eat dessert. Let's go somewhere else for a drink. Let's go to Ralph's and pick up a 6-pack. And I'm like, dude, it's like 1 in the morning. Okay, just 1 beer from the 6-pack. And then I'm like, you got to go. The night's over. And he called me at 9 o'clock the next day. What are you doing this noche? And I was like, well, I'm going to yoga. Can I come too? And I'll cook you dinner. Okay. Next day. What are you doing this noche? I'm going for a hike. Can I come too? And I'll cook you dinner. Okay. Every single day. Every day he called me. And I memorized his phone number the first time he told it to me. And I believe in signs like that where I go, I knew his phone number the first time he said it. And I remember the first voicemail he left me, I thought, knee-jerk, I went, I could listen to that voice every day. And I went, oh, okay. And then I just started paying attention to little bitty things. And yeah, we just kind of were.
So was it ever weird at the beginning? Like, I don't know. We're all, again, dysfunctional. Like, did you have any where you were like, oh no, he doesn't like me. He's not calling me. What's going on? Big fights. I was a tester with my husband, you know, created fights to see if he would, you know, come after me.
I think I probably did that. I know for sure there was a moment where I said, you don't want this. There's too much going on here. I got too much baggage and you don't want it. And he said, I do. And I went, no, I don't think you do. Pretty sure you don't. And he kept going, but I do. Like literally this was the conversation. It wasn't any broader than that. And I started kind of breaking down. I don't know how to be in a relationship. I don't have that modeled for me. I am in and out in 3 months. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm definitely going to screw this up. I have so much baggage that has nothing to do with you that you're going to have to deal with. I cry sometimes for no reason. I'm a broken piece of shit. I've all this past stuff that I haven't even told you about, and you don't want it. And he was like, I do. So give it to me. This happened on Zuma Beach, and he picked up a rock and wrote the date on it, and we still have the rock. Where I said, you don't want it? And he said, I do. I want it. This is before we were engaged, before we were pregnant, before anything. And then I did have another panic attack going, I can't do this, just to a friend, not to him, going, I can't handle this. I can't do this. This is not for me. I do not know what I'm doing. And I'm definitely going to screw this poor person up and myself up. And she was like, I'll be right there. She came over and she went, honey, you're having a panic attack. And it's over because he's the one and you're the one for him. So let's go see Finding Nemo. And that's what we did. I was like, okay. So we went to watch Finding Nemo. By the end of the movie, I was like, okay, I think he's good. And like, that was in August. In September, I was pregnant.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
So you never got like the grossed out feeling, which
Grossed out?
Yeah, like where you're like, it's too much. He likes me too much. This is too real. Like I've got I can't do it. I don't like him.
No.
That's
you
good.
had like it seems to me like you were trying to self-sabotage for a little bit.
I was just trying to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not a walk in the park. Like, I got stuff, like my mom's stuff. I was date raped in college. I don't think I'd really dealt with that. I dealt with it to a point. Mm-hmm. But to be intimate with somebody in the way you are when you're married is different than just, dating someone for 3 or 4 months and then moving on, or even a year and knowing this is not permanent. But to be able to go, listen, I'm damaged over here and I'm not even willing to open that box. But if we're going to be really married, I'm going to have to open that box and I don't really want to. I don't want to deal with that. Right. So it's easier for me to go, never mind on you. So don't ever have to open that box.
Right.
And so when I told him about that being part of the box I didn't want to open, he was like, I got it. I'm good. Give me the box. It was really crazy.
So were you dating before you a lot or at all, or were you dating before you guys met, like other people before you met Bert? Were you going on dates or?
Yeah.
I was, but you weren't looking for like the one.
I didn't think that was in the cards for me ever.
Really?
No, I didn't think I would be capable of that. No.
Oh.
No.
So you weren't the marrying, like, oh, I can't wait or looking for the one, or.
I think I wanted it and didn't think I could have it.
Wow.
I think that's what it was. I wanted it, but just so very much did not have the tools, and I got bored so fast.
Me too.
With people,
right? With your mom and the way you grew up, you're constantly evaluating, right? And hypervigilant. So if someone is easy to figure out, you're done. Was that the way it was for you?
Yes. Also, and I've heard this from therapists a lot when I was younger, but my mom's love was very inconsistent. Mm-hmm. So it was like sometimes she was like a great mom and really sweet and supportive, and other times she was so mean and unloving for no reason that I could have control over, because she could just be in a bad mood. But when you're a kid, you don't understand that your parents have other things going on, or they're very moody. I didn't know that my mom was probably had some mood stuff going on. I always thought, I'm bad today, or I did something. So I think when later with men, if they were just consistently like into me, I was like, that doesn't feel comfortable.
Yeah. What is that?
I need to work for it a little bit. I need to earn it. I need to be good. I need to be like, you know what I mean? So if they weren't, then I would just get scared and go, this doesn't feel comfortable.
What is this?
I don't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know I've been in therapy forever. And sometimes Bert has shades of my mom, but is not my mom, right? He has distinct differences. Like my mom was very narcissistic. Definitely comics. A little bit of narcissism, just a titch, right? But my mom could never had accountability for anything. Every human being makes a mistake. Of course she made mistakes, but it was never her. I mean, it's why she divorced so many times. It was never her. Bert definitely can reflect and go, you know what, that was not okay, and make some changes. So I'd ask my therapist, and sometimes where we are maybe not optimum, because obviously there are times in your marriage where you're just missing, just kind of missing, and you constantly missing, and not bad enough that you're leaving, but bad enough where you're like, what am I doing here, and what's happening here? And my therapist has always said to me, we seek things we recognize, but the optimal relationship has that one different thing that allows you to heal from the bad parts that you recognize, right?
Interesting. Yeah.
So
very much.
Love is what you know love to be. Our moms sound very similar in the way they love. My mom was fun. She was so funny. Everybody loved her. She was very generous with gifts. And then there was this other side where you're like, whoa, that's really unhealthy and borderline abusive and not cool at all. And then this other side was amazing. So I'd have both, and that meant love to me. So then I in with Bert, and I see Bert's not abusive or anything like that, but very self-focused. And when you're narcissistic, your way is the highway. And sometimes Bert's way is the highway. And then he can come back and go, it may have been maybe a different highway. Maybe it was just me reacting or being emotional. So she's continually said, you're actually in a healing relationship that sometimes triggers you that you're in the same kind of relationship as you were with your mom. But it's drastically different because of these other factors.
Right.
So, but that's why you stay. That's why it works. Because if it were totally foreign to the way my mother loved me, completely separated, then I wouldn't understand it. I wouldn't be able to accept it.
Wow.
In the way.
Or if he was always narcissistic and refused to ever take accountability, then you would just be reliving
Correct.
childhood, and it wouldn't work because you have to make yourself smaller and have no issues, and you can't ever deal with your stuff.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I think that for me, John, the thing that reminded me of the past and kept me was John was distant at the beginning, except that he actually wasn't. It's just that he's very he told me that he was being a hermit. He just wasn't really interested in dating. He liked to be home alone. He has social anxiety. Mm-hmm. So I took that to be that he's not interested enough. It wasn't actually the case, but it's what kept me. I was like, oh, I'm having to earn it. I know this feeling. This is familiar. I have to chase him a little bit. I have to try to get what I need, when in actuality, he actually was emotionally available. Right. But it's it took a while. It took a few years and really once we were living together, that I was like, oh, I don't have to earn it. But then it was too late. It was too late to be uninterested because I was already very locked in. We were already very much together, leading to marriage. So all of a sudden when I was like, oh shit, he's very available, I'm not comfortable with that. But it was too late.
But I think for you though, it's probably that you grew and learned in the context of that relationship without maybe even knowing it. Right? I wonder if you learned, oh, hold on, I actually can have this without it being this. Because that's what I've done with Bert, is I've gone, oh, okay, this is not my mom. This is just Bert being Bert. And it means so much less. It's not important anymore. So what keeps me there is different than what got me there in the beginning.
Right.
Right?
Right. Yeah.
So I wonder.
Let's take another quick break. And we're back. Lynette, are you relating to this at all?
Well, there's a lot of things I'd like to say, but I don't know.
No, say it. What?
Well, I mean,
Oh, you mean you shouldn't say it?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
But because I had a mom that was, I don't know if she was crazy. She was she was definitely narcissistic, but she was manic a lot my whole life, but she wasn't like depressive. She was more of like woo, like happy and like too much. She was and she was aggressive. Well, she taught self-defense. She's a black belt.
Wow.
So she was, grabby and like she scared me I was scared of her. My dad was my safe space. But yeah, I mean, I like being married and, I was with the same person my whole pretty much adult life, met Adam when I was 25, so you just don't know any different, and that's all you're in a relationship. That's kind of all you know. Mm-hmm. And you just think, for me, like, I was like, I was just at the time dating a lot of, like, I wasn't dating that much, but every guy I did date ended up being like a douche, just because I worked at ABC Network and I worked in the entertainment industry. And then when I met Adam, he just didn't seem like the typical, like he didn't have his own tape of his pilot that I worked for the production company. And I was like, well, that's refreshing. What struggling comedian doesn't even have a copy, didn't even see it of his pilot. So it was like a new refreshing thing, But I wanted to ask you, I remember, Adam never was a touring comedian. He was a radio guy. And then when he started having to do with the podcast, then he started hitting the road. And it was after we had kids, we had little kids. So with Bert, a touring comedian, like, is it hard for you having him gone a lot on the week or, with just having kids?
Well, interesting.
Do you ever feel like a single parent?
Oh, I did. But, funny thing is, I'm an only child. So I think that it worked for me because I like my space. And I had the public school we went to with our kids was such a great community of people that I really related to. And there were several moms there. I just created like a family. Like an extended family, urban family. There was another mom whose husband's a big movie producer who was always gone. So the two of us co-parented our 4 similar-aged kids constantly. We would drop off pickup, we'd do dinner, they did tennis lessons together, Girl Scouts together.
That's smart. That's great.
So we just found each other, luckily, and co-parented all the way through 5th grade. And then our kids kind of separated, went to different middle schools. And then we kind of created that same thing in middle school because it's really hard to be by yourself. Mm-hmm. And she don't want to be by herself either. So, I'll cook this week, you cook next week, whatever you pick up, I'll drop off. So I kind of instinctively just took care of myself in that way. It's harder now that I'm empty nesting almost. I miss Bert now way more than I did when the kids were little because your days are so full.
Yes.
Like it or not, your days are full, and I was just ready to get to bedtime.
Right.
And, just kind of relax.
Yeah.
But now I miss him a lot. There's like a big hole in life, it feels like, with him gone. So I don't know what I'm going to do when Isla's in college and I really am home by myself. I'm probably going to travel with him some and I'll just stay home some. But, I'm a weird anomaly. I think about, and so is my friend, we never were resentful or angry that we were doing this by ourselves. I wonder if she is a refugee from Vietnam and came here when she was 8. And I'm from like hillbilly backwoods. You just roll your sleeves up and get done what needs to get done. And we have a similar mentality. And our mentality was we have the opportunity to stay home and raise our kids. For them to go do this, okay, no problem.
Yeah.
Now, if I hadn't had her and the other women, I might have felt very differently. But
yeah,
we both were like, yeah, well, for her husband, you're taking a show in London. Okay. All of us will come there for spring break. How about that? And so that we're all like, we were just these 2 families that just kind of co-parented.
Yeah.
So,
And are the kids close to each other?
yes, they all call each other like cousins. Yeah.
That's awesome.
We're all
So
cousins.
cute.
And then we added 2 more families to the group. None of their parents traveled. But so we became this like group of 4 families that had 8 kids, all within the same age. And like just yesterday, one of the other family's sons asked my daughter to prom because he was like, I just want to just not have to worry about my date.
That's
And
cute.
you'll be my date. And she was like, awesome. That'd be awesome. So yeah, they're still really close.
So that's the second prom you're talking about?
That's the second prom. Just
that's-
added last night. I was like, really? Okay. Second dress. Let's figure that one out. But
And how is Bert with like other? I'm like, does he like hanging out with other parents? Is he one of the like that kind of that dad that's like fun and likes to meet the other kids as parents and hang out?
well, I'll say sort of. That was a slow burn. He, in the beginning, didn't think that he could find anybody that could relate to him. Mm-hmm. And then again, my friend who has the husband, what's been really fascinating is that they were kind of at the same level in their respective careers at the same time. And they've grown at a similar pace in their careers at the same time. So as one elevates, all of a sudden the other one catches up and then elevates and they catch up. And so we've always had this one family that we've kind of grown in tandem. And I think that's been really helpful. And then the other 2 guys in our 4 family circle are just the nicest, most down to earth, don't care about Hollywood. One's an attorney. The other one's like in the world of VR. And they just don't really care that he is, they don't really care. They care that you're Georgia and Isla's dad. And my wife loves your wife. So what are we putting on the smoker today? That's kind of,
That's nice.
it took a minute though. In the beginning, Bert was like, I don't want to go over to these people's houses. And this is going to suck. And what am I going to talk to him about? Very shortly, he realized it's just like going home to Tampa and talking to all your friends in Tampa is the same thing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I have a lot of friends too that they struggle with their, and it's some of them are in the entertainment industry, some of them are not, but their husbands just don't want. It's like they got to drag them to the let's go to the birthday party. Got to come with us. It's hard for some reason for the guys to adapt the way us moms do.
Sometimes it's hard for me just being a supermodel to like hang out with other people more average. I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to relate.
I think Bert can relate to you on that. How does he descend to this like linear thinking crowd?
Yeah, it's like my bone structure is just different. I can't.
It's tough.
I could see why you would feel that way. Totally. I could see why.
Now you came in here with maybe a story for us.
Oh, I don't know. It wasn't a story. I had an idea.
Yeah.
I I wanted to see what you think about it. I'm kind of embarrassed.
Oh, that's
But
perfect.
I think it's kind of amazing. And then at the same time, I'm kind of embarrassed about it. Okay, so hear me out. I've been a Girl Scout troop leader for 13 years, right?
Right.
I've got 2 more years of Girl Scout troop leading with Kirsten.
Yeah.
2 more years. What if we started a Girl Scout troop for women? Troop 80085. Do you know what 80085 spells?
No.
Boobs on the calculator.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
That's cute.
What if we started a troop, right, where every month we have something we have to do, like you have to hire a mixologist to come and create your troop's like signature cocktail. And then you podcast about it and you talk about what that was like. And then you set a goal for the next time. This next meeting, you have to buy sexy lingerie because you haven't done that in a long time, and buy it for yourself and then try it on your significant other if you want to, but highly recommend it. And then talk about that on a podcast.
I like it.
I think it would be
that
really fun.
Yeah, like, and then it kind of challenges you. Like, why should the kids be the only ones trying new things?
Right.
Like, why are we done trying new things?
Exactly. And I mean, it doesn't have to be a quote Girl Scout troop, but like some kind of like,
could we earn badges though?
you know, yes, you know what? I looked into this quite a bit. If you start a membership program on YouTube, you can create your own stickers.
Oh, I love stickers.
And then you can earn a sticker. And then when you comment on YouTube, it shows all the stickers you've earned.
Really?
Yes. How cool is that?
Wow.
Okay,
That's amazing.
I think that would be fun.
Very into this, and I'm normally not a joiner, but I'm liking this idea.
Well, thank you. I've been embarrassed to tell anybody about it because I'm like, is it lame? Is it really dorky? I mean, at the end of the day, the reason I came up with this idea is a couple reasons. One is so many people ask me in my podcast how you make friends as grown-ups, right? And it is kind of hard to make friends. And it's sometimes hard to continue to get together with friends. You know, you get so in this routine of whatever your life is that to break out of it, unless you have some obligation, so to speak, it's hard to go, you know what, I need to make sure I have dinner with Stefanie. I haven't seen her in 2 months, 3 months. All of a sudden it's 3 months and I haven't seen you. So I was trying to like put something in place that would require once a month you meet with whoever your little troop is and you do whatever the goal is. And then it's a collective for all the people who are in that mindset to go, you know what? I'm going to take a pole dancing class this month, just for me, just to laugh my ass off because how bad will I be at pole dancing? Horrible. So just to kind of insert some fun and to not take yourself so seriously.
Yeah.
And, you know.
I love it.
You know, book clubs, like a lot of women join book clubs. You know, I know you have a book club for the podcast, which I'm very grateful that you read my book.
I loved your book.
You know, people join book clubs, but I think that's not everybody loves to read.
No.
So this could be, you know, because I just joined a book club and I promptly did not read the book that we were supposed to read.
That's always
We literally
happens.
had our meeting yesterday and it was me and one other woman were the only ones. I didn't even buy the book. I was having a stressful month and I kept thinking like, oh, I got to read this fucking book, you know? Right. And it's a big book. It's a big ass book, really long. So every time I thought about reading the book, I was like, this is not like 150 pages. This is like a 400-page book. And I'm like, I'm never going to finish the book. And I don't even want to start it. But I still wanted to go to the book club for the snacks and the camaraderie.
Exactly.
So if this was a thing that could have fun stuff like you get to earn a sticker and you get to hang out with your friends and you get to do stuff that's not reading a book. Like, why do we only have book clubs?
Yeah, we
should
have.
That's
That's it. Yeah,
That's what I'm talking
I think
about.
that's a great idea.
Like 1 month you could have a field trip and the field trip could be learn how to rock climb. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or I'm trying to think of things that anyone could do at any socioeconomic level, right? Maybe you can't hire a mixologist to come and teach you, but I guarantee you can go, hey, local bartender, I'll give you $50 to come in 30 minutes early and help me figure out how to make a cocktail, you know? And we got 8 people in our group. $50 between 8 people is not much money. And just to have freaking fun.
Yeah, I know.
Just to have something to do because half the time I get exhausted by trying to figure out something to do. You know, like, well, what do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? I don't know. Oh, never mind.
Right.
You know, that's part of the book club is you don't have to figure out what to do. You know, the date and the time and the place and you show up.
Even if it was like, everybody's going to make some kind of crazy appetizer that they've never made before.
Hello.
And you're like, our theme is just apps.
Yes.
Yeah,
Something
I
you've
love
never
it.
tried before that you always thought sounded good and you're going to try to make it. I'm going to make spinach artichoke dip and I've never made it before.
Totally.
And then you just get some random people. So you know how the Girl Scouts, they're meeting new people because it's not just who you're in school with. It's like who joins this Girl Scout troop. It's the local troop. So you could be like, open it up to some people you don't even know.
100%. I love meeting new people. I love that. I don't know. Kirsten and Kathy, our other friend, our book clubbers, you know them. What am I talking about? Kirsten and Kathy. We were talking about this one day and it just has not left me. Because I was like, what are we going to do in our troop ends? We've been together. We've seen each other every 2 weeks for 15 years.
Yeah.
That's going to be a big loss, right? Just the 3 of us ladies, just that social piece.
Yes.
And then I said we should start this troop for ourselves, but make it like, you know how there's daisies and brownies and Girl Scouts and whatever. I was like, so the first level can be Prosecco, and then you can bridge to Rosé, and then you bridge to Sauvignon Blanc, and then you bridge, and you just bridge through every varietal of wine. Wouldn't that be fun?
I love that's
know?
funny.
I need to, like, people are since the divorce, like I don't do anything. And like everybody's like, you got to get out and do stuff, meet people, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, like
how?
Where?
Yeah.
I would definitely do it.
You would?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes me feel good.
But how does the podcasting come into it?
Like, I think what we would do, you'd have one day a month where you do the activity as whoever. You're in Nebraska, you do that activity. And then one day a month, I would have a podcast since I have a local chapter.
Right.
I have another room in our studio that has a round table that I could set up 4, 5, 6 mics, and we could all just sit around a round table, whoever's available. Say I have 12 women in my group,
right,
and only 3 women could come on the, just for instance, 3rd Thursday of the month where we have our regular troop meeting, then that's the 3 that does the podcast.
Right.
And then the next month is 3 or 4 or 5 different people. And that way you get a different perspective and you can see all the ladies in this troop and what they think about it. That's how I would think about it for podcasting, because it is cool to share it.
It is inspiring, yeah.
To create a movement with us.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you this.
Ladies.
Do we have to sell cookies?
CBD infused. CBD infused cookies.
infused.
Party cookies.
Okay.
Party cookies, okay? Can we get behind that?
All
We have
right.
to sell them though in our neighborhood. You have to you have to sell the cookies to support the troop. It's
Yes.
Could you
listen,
imagine
you're really gonna
knocking
like
on
these
doors?
cookies though.
I have an 80085 cookie. It's a nice boobs cookie.
You could make this famous.
Yeah.
I think it's amazing. I have to tell you, I'm super inspired.
Yeah.
But I keep, when you have a good idea and you're like, is it dumb? It might
not.
be. It
It's
might
not
be
dumb.
lame.
No, it's really good. We're
Okay,
going to get a
good.
lot. Trust me, we're going to get a bunch of feedback on this.
Oh, yeah.
But I think people should all have their own local chapters.
That's
All
what I
these
mean.
Women that are trying to make friends and
Yes.
use the same, what is it, 80085?
Yeah.
80085. And all these people can have their own 80085. But maybe they add another number to it so that that's their special troop.
Oh, -1, -5, -whatever. That's a good idea. But yeah, I think if you create a community on Facebook or YouTube, YouTube may be easier because my podcast is on YouTube anyway, then they can go and watch, because that's how they would find out what we're doing that month, right?
Yeah.
Oh, so you're like the master troop.
I am, yes,
I don't like
the
to call
master
it
troop.
that, but then they all follow. They don't come up with their own stuff.
Well, I think they probably could, but like I could say, this is what our troop's doing this month.
Yeah, I don't think we should allow people to come up do their own thing.
I'd
Be like, I started this, so you guys are all doing
Yes.
drag queen bingo this month.
exactly,
That's it.
drag queen bingo. That would be amazing. But
Yeah.
that's the problem, is that to me, if I sit down and I brainstorm, let's say like 12 episodes, which is a year, or 12 meetings, which is a year, then if you tune into that podcast, you have an idea for what to do that month. So we're all getting a mixologist. You do that in your hometown.
Right.
We'll talk about it next podcast, and we'll tell you we're going to talk about mixology. And then this month, you're learning how to pole dance. Okay, now we're going to talk about pole dancing. Now
I've been
month,
wanting to learn how to pole dance.
I took a class already. It's pretty friggin' hysterical.
Is it hard?
Yes.
Okay.
The core strength necessary does
Yeah.
not exist in my body.
Right.
It's insane. But we had such a good time. We just laughed and laughed and laughed. And our homework was to go home and try a lap dance on our husband. And it was the most hysterical thing I think I've ever done. And Bert loved it. Just the idea that I was giving him a lap dance was it. Like I didn't have to do anything really.
Oh, that's
I was
so funny.
but it was so fun. And another thing I think about too is we don't give ourselves the opportunity to reinvent our relationships with our significant others, right? We don't really, again, you get in the same routine. But what if you just did something you could share? Like, hey, this month, go buy yourself some sexy lingerie. Just that in and of itself, shopping at Nordstrom, I did it once and I was like 45 minutes. And I left there feeling like, what am I doing? And then I got home and put it on and went, okay, I can do this. I can do this. I challenged myself.
Right.
And then I shared that with Bert, who thought the thing about sexuality with your husband, I think we all think that it's one thing. We don't ever sit down and ask or talk about what it really is. So I'm concerned about like my back fat. And Bert goes to me, you have back fat? All I look at is your boobs. Like, I don't know that you have anything else on your body but your boobs. Yeah. So I go, well, why am I worried about my back fat? I just need an amazing bra. And at the end of the day, all he cares about is the bra. I could wear granny panties and he wouldn't even see it. So my idea of what he's looking for is completely different. So if in 80085 we explored something like that, I think that would be really cool too.
Oh, absolutely.
And then when you get your husband excited, then he's going to go 80085. Yeah, have fun. I'll see you when you get back. Let's see what you learned today.
Right.
Then he's on board too.
But what about our single ladies?
That's okay.
Then they have to. Then they have to just go.
It's ammo for later.
That's right.
Right.
They have to practice it on a Tinder date.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
I haven't worked out the single lady part yet. That's a very good.
That's a very good. That's how you get a second date.
Right.
There you go.
Right.
Oh my gosh, this has been so fun.
Are we done? I talked the whole time. I'm so sorry.
We do 2 other episodes a week already. They're tired of hearing about us. They want to hear you.
No.
Yeah.
So tell us. Okay. So what? Wife of the Party is once a week.
It's every Thursday. Wife of the Party.
And then when are your book club is every month or is it every couple months?
We try to do every month. It depends on, you know what? The thing about my podcast is I want it to be loose because I ask people to come on. I asked these 2 ladies to read a book. And if they don't get to it at the month, I don't want it to feel like work.
Right.
So I really go by their pace. We try to hit once a month. We usually hit like once every 6 weeks, something like that.
That's not bad.
So yeah.
Yeah. What are you guys reading this month?
We are reading, it's called 100 Ways to Improve Your Life, I think it is. It's a self-help book.
Okay. I'm out.
I'm barely in it. It's well written, but I haven't learned anything yet.
Okay.
So I'm waiting to learn something.
Okay.
Like I learned so much in your book. I'm good for a self-help book if I'm learning.
Yeah.
Right.
Yours not a self-help book, obviously.
No, it's not.
But I learned so much, and that just makes me so excited.
Yeah.
And we just read our last book was called How to Organize While Drowning. And I learned a ton in that book. And not about me. I learned about my daughter. Because the woman who wrote the book has ADHD. My daughter doesn't, but my daughter has dyslexia and other learning challenges. And she explained to me how her brain works, and it completely changed my perspective on my daughter.
Oh, interesting.
So that's the way I like to have a book club. But so anyway,
to learn.
So what is tell us how to follow you on social. What's your Instagram?
LeeAnn Kreischer is my Instagram. Wifeotp.com is my website. I'm on YouTube. I'm on wherever you get podcasts for audio versions. And I have a live Wife of the Party podcast in Nashville, but it's this Sunday. I don't know when this airs. It's the 14th.
This airs Thursday.
Oh, good.
So
April 14th.
Yeah.
So anybody at Zanies in Nashville, I'm part of the Zanies Comedy Festival, which is crazy. It's my first ever live podcast.
That's so exciting.
Yeah, April 14th.
Good for you.
Yeah, so that's
Is it just you on just...
It's me and Taylin Lewan and Charo Compton, which is Tyler Lewan and Will Compton's wives. They're also wives of the party. And if you don't know who they are, they're the Bussin' with the Boys guys. I don't know if you know the Bussin' with the Boys podcast with Barstool.
Okay.
But it's their wives. Yeah.
Oh, fun.
So 3 wives of the party.
3 wives of the party.
That'll be a fun night out.
That'll
Guys, go check that out if you're in Nashville or surrounding areas. These people will travel.
That's true.
Heck yeah.
Get your
Thank
sticker.
you.
That's right.
That's the first. That's the Girl Scout thing.
That's the book. Yes.
Well, let us know about the Girl Scout thing.
About 80085.
Yeah, keep us up to date on that. And,
Yes.
and let's have dinner or lunch.
I would
Maybe all
love
of
that.
us.
Yes,
Yeah,
all 3 of
super
us.
fun.
It's so nice to meet you.
Yeah.
I know. So nice. Thank you so
Yeah.
much, LeeAnn, for coming in.
Thank you for
It's been
having
great.
me.
I know the time flew.
It
Yeah.
went too fast.
I know. Thanks, Kaylin. Thanks
Thanks,
for
everybody.
producing
Thank
us.
you.
You're a parent now.
Don't F it up.